Nak buat je lah, nak buat tak apa. Baik, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alamak, pasal muka aku macam gini. Okey. Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh kepada semua. Selamat malam saya ucapkan kepada semua. Terima kasih kerana bersama kami pada malam ini. Malam ini agak istimewa sikit sebab kita sedang cuba untuk cross post selari dengan FB page masing-masing, Ustazah Fatin, Ustazah Hidayah, Ustaz Lutfi dan juga Ustazah Nurul. Belum lagi Okey, tak apa. Mana tahu kita doakanlah, mana tahu Ustazah Nurul nanti akan jadi Ustazah Nurul juga insya-Allah. Okey, terima kasih. Malam ini kita ada topik istimewa iaitu Salah Mak Bapak Atau Anak yang akan kita cuba kongsi bersama dengan asatizah-asatizah kita ni. Ini pertama kali saya live dengan mereka dan saya ucapkan terima kasihlah kepada ustazah-ustazah dan juga ustaz kita yang bersama kita pada malam ini untuk sama-sama berkongsi tentang perhubungan di antara mak, bapak dan juga anak-anak. Sebab mungkin seperti apa yang telah saya katakan semalam, ada juga saya ada buat trailer sikit lah. Ada mungkin sekarang ni kita agak kerisauan ataupun kegusaran sedikit apabila melihat anak-anak kita lebih cenderung kepada alam maya dan juga saya macam selebriti gitu, macam ada ini Okay, never mind. So is the lighting agaknya. Okay, tak apa, saya ke belakang sikit. Okay. Ni okay, handsome sikit. Alright, so whatever it is, apa yang ingin kita kongsi ialah tentang siapa salah, bukan siapa salah maksudnya tu. Mungkin lebih kepada pemahaman di antara kedua-dua belah pihak. Generasi yang lebih, tak mahu cakap tua lah, yang veteran. Okay, sebab kalau cakap tua, dalam live hari ini merupakan saya yang paling muda sekali dalam live hari ini. Jadi saya rasa tak sedap kalau cakap tua. Yang veteran dan juga generasi kita sekarang ini. Dan mungkin untuk generasi-generasi akan datang. Jadi saya tak nak membuang masa, kita akan tak nak melingah-lingahkan waktu lagi. Kita akan menjemput semua ahli-ahli panel kita dan juga artis selebriti kita. Dia seorang selebriti yang begitu popular sekali. Dia selebriti, saya slip bateri. Dia lain sikit Okey, kita persilakan Ustazah Fatin, terima kasih. Ustazah Hidayah, Ustaz Lutfi dan juga Nurul Aini. Sekejap saya unmute awak semua ya. Okey, awak semua belum unmute dia. Cuba unmute yourself.
Assalamualaikum. Hai, Assalamualaikum. Berdengar saya.
Okey, apa khabar?
Baik, Alhamdulillah.
Apasal semua tak ada nama
Tak ada nama, ada.
Oh, tak apa. Mana satu kita mungkin penonton-penonton kita tak tahu siapa. Boleh kenal satu Ustazah Fatin, Ustazah Fatin.
Saya Ustazah Fatin.
Ya. Ustazah Hidayah.
Saya Hidayah.
Assalamualaikum. Salam Ustazah Hidayah. Kita boleh go to landscape tak Ustazah Hidayah? You punya phone.
Landscape. Okay, I try.
You try. Ustaz Lutfi, itu Ustaz Lutfi. Dan juga kita ada diterbangkan khas daripada Dubai, Ustazah Nurul Aini.
Masya Allah.
Okey, apa khabar semua? Kita tengok ada tak komen-komen. Okey, kita ada Puan Zura, kita ada Muhammad Puan Ana Rahim. Ini daripada saya punya, kalau awak lihat, daripada saya punya viewers sekarang ni yang menonton. So you all kena tengok dekat you all punya FB berapa viewers you all. So but all comments daripada you all punya FB kita tengok kat sini semua. Cuma viewers kita tak boleh total up lah. So your viewers may be different, my viewers may be different, Ustazah dan juga Ustazah Fatin dan juga Ustazah Hidayah may be different, and Ustaz Lutfi pun may be different. Tapi viewers, as in total viewers, we can see later on lah. So malam ini kita nak berkongsi. Seperti yang telah saya terangkan dekat saya punya shout out, saya sengaja untuk menjemput panelis-panelis kita iaitu ustazah dan juga ustaz yang muda untuk sama-sama berkongsi, sebab mungkin selain daripada mereka merupakan ilmuwan dalam segi agama, tapi mereka juga merupakan anak muda. Okay, so basically I think it's a good mix. Nurul is a mom of 3. Okay, sekarang sedang menjalani proses membesarkan anak-anak, dan saya sendiri merupakan yang paling termuda sekali dalam live ni. So korang faham lah Okay. So ini kita tak nak bukan forum perdana, tapi kita lebih santai. Kita lebih santai untuk berbincang. Okay, kita langsung terus. Bila kita tengok topik Salah Mak Bapak atau Anak. Okay, what's your take, Ustaz Lutfi, with regards to this? Kita kasih brief take, lepas tu kita ada segmen di mana kita akan menjawab soalan-soalan mungkin daripada komen di sini live, ataupun kita juga sebenarnya Ustaz Fatin, saya sendiri juga, dan Ustazah dari lain juga menerima soalan daripada viewers. I mean they give us a kira masa kita buat trailer ni ataupun kita post ni, ada yang memberikan soalan-soalan yang telah diberikan kepada kita. Okey, kita berikan kepada Ustaz Lutfi untuk terangkan sedikit what's your take about salah mak bapak atau anak. Siapa salah ni sebenarnya? Mak bapak ke anak? Okey, silakan.
Saya rasa mesti anak yang salah. Okey, dah lah. Selalunya kira itu the brief lah, bukan salah anak atau salah bapak. Saya rasa at the end of the day, briefly of course kita depending on situation dan sebagainya, depending on what is the priorities of the conflict ataupun of the argument. Kalau ni kira salah mak, salah bapak, maksudnya mesti ada some issue yang didiscusskan. It's not generally salah siapa, mesti ada dia punya back story or reason. Contohnya maybe dari segi kahwin contohnya, kalau dalam orang tu anak ingin kahwin, then expectation of the parents and expectation of the children itself untuk melakukan any kind of decision which is sometimes leads to other arguments between them. So kita nak salahkan mak ataupun parents ataupun nak salahkan anak sebab maybe rude in a certain rude in their eyes ataupun tak mendengar kata. Kalau dari segi anak punya eyes pula, it's like this is my majlis or this is my wedding, why should I macam compromise banyak sangat for your wants? It's not for your needs kerana for your wants, anything lah. So it's not like blaming game, it's not kesalahkan siapa, but how we can best address the issue, and at the end of the day respect every party. It's not only macam kita ada authority as parents, kita use the authority, or kita anak punya degil ataupun anak punya will yang kita sampai kadang rasa tak perlulah dengar cakap mak bapak, this ni apa yang aku nak, this is how I always imagine. So how we can better compromise with all the parties that involved and come up with a solution lah, instead of macam just blaming games and show that you are better than the other party. So insyaAllah that's the briefly lah, I think, insyaAllah.
I see. Itu dalam segi mungkin Ustaz telah memberikan contoh dalam segi perkahwinan lah, I mean wedding situation lah, right? Okay, so memanglah apa pun subjeknya ataupun topiknya tetap mungkin ada percanggahan. Tapi sekarang ni kita hari ni malam ni kita nak fahamkan, tapi itu nantilah kita nak fahamkan sebenarnya apa yang ada dalam minda anak-anak muda ni sehingga ada percanggahan dengan their parents. Okay, now kita persilakan Nurul Aini, maybe kita tukar-tukar sikit lah, kita jam daripada Ustaz kita pergi ke bakal Ustazah, lepas tu kita berhubung ke Ustazah. Okay, Nurul, what's your take about salah mak bapak atau anak? What's your take about that?
For me kan, sama macam Ustaz Lutfi, actually you cannot play the blame game. I feel like macam Ustaz Lutfi cakap anak yang salah kan, tapi for me actually both sides are to be blamed. It's actually for me what's important is communication lah. In order for a relationship, any relationship to work, you need very good communication. For example, macam I feel like kalau I can communicate very well with my children, I rasa kita tak akan macam bercanggah sangat. You know, like I notice that macam anak-anak yang agak mungkin rude towards their parents is because the communication is not strong enough. You need to communicate with your children, you need to understand, you know, and then especially for me zaman sekarang my anak-anak dah so different from our time. You know, and they have learned so much more than what I learned when I was their age lah kan. So in that sense I kena tahu what they are learning and what they are going through. So I tak boleh macam diorang lain umur, so I don't have to know. But actually it's very important for me to know what's trending. It's very important for me to keep myself updated with what they are going through every day. For example, social media. Kalau I am not updated, but they are updated, can you imagine the communication problem that we're going to have? Like, what are we going to talk about? And what if they meet someone who knows a lot better and diorang akan, talk more with all these people outside rather than the people in their family. So that's why I feel like communication is very, very important. Macam, it's not just me and the children, I rasa me and my husband pun sama, because the children will watch us kan. So kalau my communication with my husband pun not good, when the children watch, diorang pun feel like, there's no need to work on the communication. You get what I mean? And it takes, I think, budak-budak diorang tengok parents lah. Kalau parents diorang communicate well, and then we communicate with them well, I'm sure they will follow, insyaAllah. Yeah.
Alright, thank you. Okay guys, I need to unmute you all sebab kalau kita I need to mute you all. Sampai berbual kita. Tapi kalau siapa yang nak interject, just angkat tangan macam ni, cakap kelas Okay, alright. Okay, kita persilakan pula Ustazah Fatin untuk what's your take regards to the topic malam ni? Salah mak bapak atau anak ni? Okay, so far Nurul dengan Ustaz mengatakan sebenarnya tak ada salah siapa-siapa. Tapi kita lebih kompromi lah di antara satu sama lain, di antara kedua belah pihak. Okay, that's their take. Okay, Ustazah Fatin, silakan.
Tadi sebelum saya live dekat sini, bapak saya tanya, hari ni topik pasal apa? So, saya cakap, salah mak atau salah anak? Saya cakap, salah anak lah, apa salah mak bapak pula? Okay. Dia kacau saya lah, dia kacau. Tapi kita memang suka gurau-gurau macam tu. Tapi saya rasa on a serious note, saya rasa dia bukan salah siapa-siapa lah sebenarnya. Sebab saya rasa mungkin macam tadi Kak Nurul cakap, Kak Nurul cakap kita punya mak bapak kan, dia live in a different era. And kita yang muda-muda ni, kita pun live in a different era. Jadi that's why kita ada different set of experiences. That's why kita tak boleh nak faham each other. Because especially kalau macam age gap kita dengan our parents tu very, very jauh. Macam for me, myself, I take myself as an example. Me and my parents, kita ada 40 years age gap tau. 40 years age gap. You imagine that's like really long kan. So macam it's very, very hard to understand each other lah. Tapi pokoknya dekat sini saya rasa macam bukan salah sesiapa, it's just lack of understanding je. Macam tu lah.
I see. 40 years gap tu jauh tu quite.
Jauh. Mak bapak saya orang-orang lama, tapi masya-Allah lah. Diorang orang-orang lama.
I see. Okay, terima kasih Ustazah Fatin. Okay, kita teruskan. Let's hear, kita dengar daripada Ustazah Hidayah pula. Silakan Ustazah Hidayah. What's your take?
Okay, bismillah. Boleh dengar
boleh.
kan? My mic is okay
boleh.
Kan? Because tadi nak adjust dia macam keluar sikit. Okay, but to answer the question, I think I will agree with most of you, and that is also my stand lah. At the end of the day, tak ada salah sesiapa, tak ada salah parents ke, tak ada salah children. But I think where you are coming from really plays a big part whether you nak salahkan which side. Macam usually when we ask parents, a lot of parents would say, parents yang really, really understand that their presence in the child's punya growth and decisions and stuff like that, they are to blame because they are the ones that bring the children up, right? But then for children wise, maybe because they know that their parents have done so much, and it's the decisions that they make on their own, so then they say that it's salah children. But it can also work the other way, as Ustaz Lutfi mentioned earlier lah, how it really depends on the situation. Maybe it is really the parents' fault, maybe it really is the children's fault. So it is really different. But I guess for my take or for my stand would be that lah, on that matter of where at the end of the day bukan salah sesiapa, we always want to focus on the solution rather than the problem. Because if we keep focusing on the problem, salahkan dia, then the situation won't get better. But if we always want to focus on the solution, I want to settle this problem with my parents, I want to settle this problem with my children, then inshallah it can go toward somewhere better. But I think as children ourselves, I think kita need to remember that as much as today's topic is of a concern, at the end of the day, we still need to remember our places lah, like our place as a children, and the status of our parents as parents, where they deserve the respect, they deserve not just the respect, but they also deserve us listening to them and hearing them out, because as what you have all mentioned now, we all live in a different era and it's not the same. But at the end of the day, if there is understanding, there is communication, as Kak Nurul mentioned earlier, and all of the other points that you all have mentioned, inshallah it is somewhere that we can go at a better place. But going back, let us not forget yang kita ni at the end of the day children, and my dad always say, whatever that you are going through right now, whatever you see me and your mom going through, at the end of the day, it's gonna be a cycle. This life is gonna be a cycle. InshaAllah you akan jadi parents. InshaAllah you akan be at the stage of parents, and you have InshaAllah your own children, and you know what it feels like to become a parent back then when you are a children. So I think which is why this is a topic that we want to discuss today. There's a lot that we can discuss, but yeah, my stand is like semua orang, tak ada orang yang salah, but we want to look at what are the solutions that we can go about with this matter lah, InshaAllah.
Alright, okay. Sebelum kita teruskan, kita jawablah salam-salam daripada teman-teman kita yang menonton ni, sebab bila kita berbual ni kita tak perasan all the comments. Nampak? You all nampak all the comments tak? Tak nampak?
Nampak.
Ustazah Fatin nak nampak Ustazah Fatin?
Nampak.
Macam mana nak
Dekat komen. Dekat komen. Dekat chat ada komen.
So kita jawab salam
Okay.
semua. Waalaikumsalam. Waalaikumsalam semua. Terima kasih kerana menonton.
Salam.
Okay, thank you so much. Alright, terima kasih. Seperti yang telah saya katakan tadi, this live dia selari dengan page Ustazah Fatin, Ustazah Hidayah, Nurul dan juga Ustaz Lutfi. Dan mereka juga ada salah satu kenapa saya ingin menjemput asatizah muda ni ialah kerana saya melihat mereka punya IG, diorang punya podcast, mungkin Ustaz Lutfi pun ada TikTok. Okay, Ustaz Lutfi pun ada TikTok. Dan saya rasa saya rasa ada masanya untuk kita tampilkan ustazah-ustazah kita yang begitu savvy dalam teknologi dalam social media. Tak semua dalam social media ni yang buruk sebenarnya. Not all are negative. Maybe kita akan sentuh sedikit. Kita ada soalan-soalan tentang social media, tentang anak-anak yang begitu cenderung sangat dengan social media, dan adakah gejala-gejala social media ini will influence them to the negativity. I think Nurul's punya concern is more on that also. I think both her kids, they are very well versed with social media. Si J-pop dengan K-pop. Okay, I call it K-pop kan. So they're very well versed, and I think that a little bit of worry about, where kids are too involved in social media. Sekarang ni kita sebenarnya ni this is the first time our episode, tapi kita akan InshaAllah kita akan adalah individual ustaz on the different topic. Tapi hari ni now maybe siapa-siapa yang ada soalan ataupun ada pendapat tentang topik Salah Mak Bapak atau Anak, sila komen. Okay, dekat this comment. Alright, yang ada komen kat sini silakan. Tapi sementara tu boleh tak kita jawab soalan-soalan yang telah diberikan kepada kita earlier. Okay, so siapa yang akan ini dulu, yang akan berikan soalannya? Nurul, do you have any soalan you want to ask or you want to give pendapat whatsoever? Maybe we start with Nurul, then lepas tu kita start with ini, with the soalan-soalan.
For me, macam abang cakap tadi lah, my main concern is social media lah. Because right now, I feel like social media is almost taking over our lives lah. And then my daughter, she is only 8 years old. But then dia dah macam, she is so social media savvy Dia macam, dia punya level macam, sometimes dia buat Instagram story, I don't even know boleh do like this. Filter, so kadang-kadang I feel like alamak, she knows more than me, so it's a little bit worrying lah. And then also TikTok, Ustaz Lutfi, TikTok okay, memang I also main TikTok. The thing is that like you mentioned abang not everything is negative when it comes to social media. There are also positivity in a lot of the things that we do on social media lah kan. So okay, TikTok for example, so bila dia scroll and then some of it is just, it's not for children, but at the same time you don't want to stop them, because kalau you stop them then nanti diorang macam backdated, then you don't know a lot of things. So there is that macam worry, but at the same time I want them to be exposed to social media. You get what I mean? So I macam don't really know how to handle it, and I'm sure it's just going to get worse as she grows older, yeah. So how do I handle that?
Okay, so who wants to take that question before kita proceed with the soalan-soalan yang telah diberikan kepada kita earlier? Who can take that? Ustazah?
Ustazah Hidayah.
I think this is one of the many concerns of the questions that we have received
Yes.
through our followers DMs dan sebagainya. But I think when we talk about social media then concerns your parents, I think one thing that Kak Nurul mentioned earlier, we need to be proficient, or we need to also have some sort of knowledge for that matter, so that roughly when they do certain things, we know of certain things. But also at the same time, I think I'm not talking from the perspective of I have children because belum kahwin, tapi I have children in the classroom. My teenagers, the ones that I teach in class every weekend. So that is also part of my concern lah as an ustazah, as a teacher myself, because lagi they are only getting those Islamic inputs on the weekend, and I don't see them on a daily basis. So sometimes every week you see them bringing their problems, bringing the things that they are influenced with. But I think one of the greater lessons that we need to ensure that it is there. Apart from communication, conversation with all of them, what is important is to help them to understand, to differentiate what is right, what is wrong, to understand or to have that skill or ability to filter the things that they consume, and to help them understand that it is equally important to know what you consume, because you can become that. And sometimes they find that, oh, maybe this certain content on social media is good, but actually it's not good. And why is that a trouble? Because they don't know how to differentiate. Maybe they thought this is good, tapi it's actually it's not good. And I think this is where the guidelines of the religion comes in handy a lot, because Islam has provided us a lot of guidelines, not to restrict us, but to actually give us a sort of guide, in a sense where, oh, okay, is this okay? Is this not okay? Is this crossing the limits, or this is not crossing the limits? Because if we talk about social media, dulu tak ada TikTok, sekarang dah ada TikTok. Dulu kan ada Snapchat, Instagram tak ada IG story, sekarang dah ada IG story macam Snapchat. So things will continue to evolve, and apps will continue to ada. So if we continue to, some people might say, oh, kita restrict them, jangan kasih mereka pakai. Either way, at any other chance, at any other time, they will have access to it. But what we want is, those confident Muslims, those confident children, confident teenagers, where they know that, I'm a Muslim, and this is I know that this is right, I know that this is wrong, and I know how to filter all of these things that I am consuming lah. So I think that is actually one of the many things that we can impart to them, but also at the same time to also be open lah to what they say about it, because they might find certain values in social media itself that they don't find outside of social media. So taking the Islamic guideline into perspective, but also at the same time being open to their concerns and what they feel about it. Because as much as we macam, if you take my age, or maybe some of us punya age kan, we are not really too far much about when it comes to those yang below us, okay, the children today. But I think there is already so much things that we are lacking and left behind. So macam, and we can only imagine what our parents are going through right now lah, with the advancement of technology. But keep up, and look at what Islam provides us with the guideline, and find ways to how to actually teach them to filter all of these things lah, insyaAllah. So that if things come, then they can continue to filter. And kita tahu, kita lepaskan, they will continue to go on, but we know that insyaAllah they will be on the right track lah, insyaAllah.
Okay, kita ada satu komen dekat sini daripada Cik Sutina kita, bahasa Melayu boleh? Okay, kalau dia cakap lebih kepada bahasa Melayu. Okay. Minta maaf. Inilah dia.
Cuba.
Inilah dia generation gap. Jadi kita sebagai anak muda, Ustazah sila berbahasa Melayu sikit boleh?
Okay, saya cuba insyaAllah minta maaf
Baik,
ter-English sikit.
Ustazah, saya rasa soalan tu telah ditanyakan kepada kita, iaitu sebelum ni dengan saya bacakan. Dengan adanya social media, kelihatan ramai yang sekarang semakin berani meluahkan kata-kata yang kurang menyenangkan, dan ianya seperti meluahkan kebencian kepada seseorang secara terbuka sekiranya seseorang itu membuat kesilapan. Macam terkena lagi, tak apa. Bukankah kita sebagai seorang Islam digalakkan untuk menjadi pemaaf, dan sekiranya ingin menegur, tidak dibuat secara terbuka sehingga memalukan seseorang? Okey, adakah trend ini akan berterusan hingga ke generasi akan datang? Apa yang patut kita buat untuk mengekang atau sekurang-kurangnya mengurangkan trend ini? Itu yang telah dijawab oleh sedikit sebanyak telah dijawab oleh Ustazah Hidayah tadi, betul tak?
Sikit lah, tapi insyaAllah there is more room for discussion on that question lah, insyaAllah, sebab itu involve other people kan. Okay, Ustaz Lutfi nak cakap.
Okay, silakan.
Saya rasa bila you highlight yang question pasal kita kurang menjadi seorang pemaaf. I think because this is also the social media punya game as a whole. We tend to be we spend a lot, kita spend banyak masa di social media sampai banyak sangat sampai kita and the opportunity to voice out kita punya pendapat terlalu banyak ataupun is all over the place, and we feel that we are entitled to macam voice out kita punya opinion, and kita rasa kita punya opinion ni perlu didengar, which is good, which is totally fine. Tak semestinya, tak every time tak salah lah, cuma to the extent that kita rasa selagi kita punya opinion tak didengar dan tak diikut, benda tu adalah salah, which is kita have the mentality of is either kita punya pendapat ataupun pendapat kau salah. Kita dah jadi, kita punya, that is the trend that I see nowadays, which is merisaukan kita punya next generation ataupun kita punya culture dekat social media tu itself. Social media supposed to be platform yang free untuk kita express kita punya lifestyle ke, kita punya thoughts and everything, but kita are now being judged with every single thing yang kita post. Itu sangat tidak sepatutnya happen dah in our social media punya game, because kita, I think one of the thing, because of kita punya social validation, kita rasa bila kita tu comment, kita voice out certain issue, kita dapat support daripada the community ataupun kita punya follower dan sebagainya, kita rasa oh this is what they like, so kita pun continue this trend, kita pun fall into those trap, I think not trap but fall into those macam fake reality, maybe because kita feed our, I don't know, maybe kita boleh terfeed kita punya ego dan sebagainya sampai kita rasa oh I should do more of this kind of macam attacking people so that I gain more macam attention from the community, and at the end of the day tak kisahlah aku ni jadi orang baik kan jahat, tapi ni yang mereka suka. So that mentality dah jadi evolve kat dalam diri kita, which is merisaukan, which is back again the question pun sendiri dah highlight that Islam doesn't ever encourage ataupun teach ataupun ajar kita untuk jadi seorang yang macam gitu. Kita dah terlari daripada kita punya guidance of Islam. Kita perlu, at the end of the day, kita perlu acknowledge yang kita punya opinion ni betul, atau kita want to raise out certain concern, tapi kita juga acknowledge yang the other party is a human being, mereka juga buat kesilapan dan kesalahan yang perlu menjadikan mereka ada ruang untuk melakukan kesilapan dan berubahlah. Walaupun diorang nak minta maaf ke dan sebagainya, kita kadang pula bila diorang minta maaf, kita pun masih tak happy, ni maaf tak ikhlas lah, apalah, lagi sampai macam jatuh. I think the culture nowadays, I think the cancel culture yang kalau kita dengar lah nowadays kan, sampai diorang hancur, okay, barulah diorang ni orang yang berubah, which is a mentality yang seram lah. I think ada yang tambah, Ustazah?
Ustazah Fatin.
Okay, kalau saya boleh nak tambah, I totally agree with whatever that Ustaz Lutfi dan Ustazah Hidayah said, that macam tapi saya nak touch on teenagers kan. Kalau teenagers, I mean the cancelling culture tu memang ada, tapi kalau teenagers macam vulgarities apa ni semua, kira diorang rasa macam, because as much as social media is a free platform for everyone to express themselves, tapi tak semua benda kita kena post on social media, tak semua benda kita kena cakap, even in social, as in social yang bukan social media pun, physical face to face, like kita tak boleh, ada benda yang kita tak patut cakap, ada benda yang kita patut cakap, and apa-apa yang you letak dekat Google atau dekat Instagram atau mana-mana dekat social media, dia akan stay forever, you know. So macam budak-budak muda ni, dorang macam kalau dorang cakap something on social media, nanti kalau in the future, example in the future, kalau dorang jadi ustazah, macam and then orang akan dig back and orang akan nampak apa-apa yang dorang cakap tu dekat Twitter ke, dekat apa ke. So macam ini untuk jaga maruah sebagai seorang, bukan ustazah saja, tapi sebagai seorang human being lah. And saya juga nak share satu hadis that says that in tu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khairan aw liyasmut. Kalau kau ada kalau kau beriman dengan Allah dan Rasulnya, dan falyaqul khairan aw liyasmut, maksudnya maka kau akan, kalau kau tak ada benda baik nak cakap, dan falyaqul khairan, dan kau diam. Kalau kau tak ada benda baik nak cakap, dan kau diam. It's better for you to remain silent. So itulah. Itu untuk budak-budak muda. Ustazah Hidayah, ada nak cakap?
I really like the hadith that Ustazah Fatin mentioned, because I think it is something that we always forget lah, but that is the sunnah of the Prophet. Tapi as much as it is sunnah, it is best for us to do that lah kan. And
Sorry,
if I could also,
Hidayah.
yes,
Sorry, you
yes,
graduated from BA in Hadith, right?
Quran hadith.
Quran Hadith. Is it?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Mana ada orang tanya juga kan nanti tahu
Alah.
tanya.
Nervous pula, tiba dah nervous pula. Okay, tak. Okay, so if I could just add on one more hadith. So in many narrations of the Prophet kan, kita lihat banyak hadis-hadis bila mana Allah ataupun the Prophet SAW ceritakan tentang hari akhirat, dan di antaranya adalah apabila kita jumpa Allah SWT nanti, bila kita akan diperhitungkan atas kitanya amalan, kebaikan kita, keburukan kita dan sebagainya. At that point, kita tidak akan boleh say for ourselves. Kita tak boleh cakap, oh ya Allah kat dunia aku buat ni, ya Allah kat dunia aku buat tu. Akan tetapi kita punya limbs, badan kita, tangan kita, mata kita, kepala kita, telinga kita yang akan say for us. So contohnya kaki kita. So kaki kita depan Allah tu dia akan kata, ya Allah, manusia ni guna aku, iaitu kaki, untuk pergi ke tempat ni, ke tempat tu. Ya Allah, manusia guna tangan ni untuk lakukan perkara ni, perkara tu. So sebenarnya kita punya whole body, our entire being, walaupun ianya pinjaman daripada Allah, tapi ia juga akan jadi saksi di hari akhirat nanti. And sometimes kita forget when we talk about things on social media, kita komen, kita share, kita like, kita buat ni, kita buat tu. Sebenarnya itu pun adalah perkara-perkara yang akan diperhitungkan nanti. Nanti kita akan dipersoalkan, oh kenapa kita gunakan tangan kita untuk keluarkan komen-komen yang tak baik? Kenapa kita gunakan anggota badan yang ini, anggota badan yang itu untuk melakukan perkara-perkara ni? And sometimes people always think that, oh bila kita cakap je, dan kita akan diperhitungkan atas perkara yang kita sebutkan. Tapi sebenarnya dalam kita type pun, it is tangan kita represent kita punya mulut. So instead of kita mention things, kita type things. So this is something that kita selalu lupa, tapi sebenarnya inilah perkara yang kita kena selalu ingat. Dalam mana perkara tu baik pun, kadang benda tu boleh jadi buruk bila mana kita tak gunakan dia dengan baik lah. Jadi mungkin a reminder for everyone, but I think a reminder for myself lah first and foremost, sebab I pun guna social media kan. Jadi sekarang tengah fikir balik benda-benda yang I like, benda-benda yang I share, semua akan diperhitungkan lah, akan ditanya oleh Allah. Sila cepat.
Okay, Nurul, silakan.
So ada soalan.
Sorry. I think I was about to nak tanya Nurul juga tadi, sebab Nurul ni selalunya jadi mangsa orang tak tahu. Okay, dalam DM mungkin orang cakap macam-macam tentang Nurul ni, tapi mungkin orang tak kenal Nurul, sebab tu orang akan cakap macam-macam. So basically saya nak tanya juga, apa pendapat Nurul? Adakah Nurul, of course lah marah, emosi, but waktu tu apa yang Nurul fikirkan, yang Nurul nak buat maksudnya? But can you control yourself? Okay, silakan. And then your soalan lah.
Okay, so sebenarnya my soalan ada something to do dengan apa yang abang cakap. Sebab I memang selalu kena attack. Kesian, I kena attack. But these people mungkin diorang tak kenal I lah. So sometimes diorang punya attack tu memang tak munasabah. Dan I wanted to ask actually, kalau orang tu attack kita in a DM, dia bukan in public macam semua orang nampak tau, tapi in a DM, tapi dia attack. So is it still bad? Even though it's in private. Okay, but before that lah, before you answer. So yes, I memang selalu kena. Perasaan tu bila I get those kind of attacks the first thing I want to do is want to click reply, lepas tu macam panjang semua benda macam machine gun lah, macam-macam lah nak cakap kan, just to back myself up and just to explain myself. But then there's another side of me yang selalu macam, buat bodoh lah, this is never ending. If I reply, dia akan reply lagi harsh, and then it will just keep going on and I akan sakit hati. So what I always do is I always ignore. No matter how painful it is, I selalu ignore. Tapi kadang-kadang ni setan kan suruh screenshot, nanti dia suruh post, you know, I do that tau. I'm very guilty of that. Sometimes I rasa macam I shouldn't do that, tapi kadang-kadang dia punya DM tu terlalu menyakitkan hati. I will screenshot tapi I akan delete lah. I will remove whoever who send me that DM, and I will post on Instagram, and I will macam make fun of whatever is being said lah, or asked, you know. Tapi I tak pernah macam rude or harsh in my reply. I will take it macam light-hearted lah, you know. Tapi walaupun sometimes I actually feel very, very hurt, but those that are really, really hurtful ones I will just ignore and just try to move on, no matter how much it affects me. Yeah, so I have no choice, because I choose to be in this line kan. So we have to accept that there are people who don't like us and there are people who like us, and we cannot stop people pun. Kita tak boleh nak paksa orang, kau kena suka aku, mana kau boleh tak suka aku. We can't do that, right? So people have their own choices, so we have no choice. I have to live with it. Yeah, so my question is, those people who send a DM, harsh DM, walaupun it's not like the whole world doesn't read it, tapi it's still harsh. So macam mana tu
Sila.
Okay, tak ada. Masya Allah lah. Saya rasa macam saya kagum dengan kesabaran Kak Nurul dengan terima DM-DM yang macam tu. Sebab saya pernah kena sikit je, tapi saya macam like susah lah nak sabar and so saya kagum lah dengan selebriti macam ni kan. So tapi saya rasa bila orang DM benda yang macam hurtful gitu kan, I think macam kita kena reflect balik, like if macam ada tak a certain truth in what they are saying, so macam as in because ni kan ada satu, because saya ada buat macam Quran punya videos during Ramadan. So macam ada orang cakap music, because saya letak music kat background. So ada orang cakap music tu kalau boleh jangan ada sebab haram. As in because bukan haram lah, macam maksudnya dia cakap tu music dengan Quran tu shouldn't be together lah maksudnya. So tapi cara dia cakap, ya Allah, macam because cara dia cakap kan, dia akan like relatekan to saya punya ni, semua benda yang tak ada kena-mengena. So benda yang tak ada kena-mengena tu sangat menyakitkan hati sebenarnya, dan saya boleh just choose untuk ignore kan. Tapi macam after a few days saya rasa macam ada tak some truth in what the person is saying, ada tak room for improvement. Memang macam apa yang saya buat, saya still ambil benda yang baik. So macam yang buruk saya ignore lah, ignore. Tapi of course susah gila. And kalau orang tu attack memang attack kan, then I mean kita akan terasa. Kalau orang tu tegur daripada hati, dia akan sampai ke hati. Kalau dia tegur bukan daripada hati, dia akan, itu yang kita rasa peritnya. Dan and saya rasa bila kita bila kita ambil, bila kita tengok kritikan tu, kita pilih mana kritikan yang membangun, kita ambil. So yang mana yang tak, kita ignore lah, macam apa yang Kak Nurul cakap. So selagi ada room of improvement, kita ambil lah, why not kan, untuk diri kita juga, untuk kita punya self development dan self growth juga. Itu just my take lah, tapi saya tahu susah sangat lah.
Silakan Ustazah Hidayah.
I think very very good points laid out by Ustazah Fatin on that matter, and it's not easy lah, which is why I also salute Kak Nurul for that matter. I think Brother Khairuddin pun ada go through your own set of experiences as well lah, and it's not easy. That's what people say. Cuma I think to answer your question, is it still bad? It is still bad walaupun it's DM, walaupun it's not public, because at the end of the day kan Rasulullah sebutkan innamal a'malu binniyat. So everything starts with intentions. Like even if you karang benda baik tapi niat you tak baik, it is still wrong, because everything goes back to your niat. So even if you mention benda-benda yang salah tapi niat you baik pun, that is something wrong as well, because your niat doesn't guarantee the means that you do, because sometimes niat you baik tapi cara you buat tu salah. So that is also wrong. So to answer your question, it is still wrong walaupun orang tu DM, walaupun it's not in the public eye. Like macam kalau personally, kalau boleh share pun, I pun pernah kena macam dia tak panjang, dia dah luahkan perasaan, lepas tu kat bawah dia mention this is just my humble thought. So I pun macam okay tak apa, just fikir yang baik-baik terhadap people, because itu yang apa Rasulullah galakkan kan, fikir yang baik-baik. Mungkin tu cara dia communicate, saya pun tak tahulah. Tapi I like the part where you mention kita tak boleh expect everyone to like us, because at the end of the day there will people who like us, there will people who don't like us. And I think kalau kita reflect back to kisah-kisah prophets, kita reflect back to Allah himself, like ada je orang tak suka Allah, ada orang suka Allah, ada orang sayang Nabi, ada orang tak happy with Nabi. And then time zaman Rasulullah pun kita nampak banyak kisah-kisah di mana orang against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those noble people, the Prophet himself, Allah SWT himself, yang patut disukai semua orang, tapi orang still tak suka mereka. So what more us kan, yang human being yang taklah macam the Prophet, and then of course jauh sangat daripada Allah SWT. Tapi I think at the end of the day, there's this one quote that I pernah baca, tapi dia confused kalau orang first time dengar quote ni. Quote tu cakap, you cannot change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. So meaning you tak boleh ubah siapa orang-orang ni tau. You tak boleh ubah cara dia, you tak boleh ubah perangai dia, semua tak boleh. Itu luar kawalan you. But you can change the people around you. Maksudnya you boleh decide siapa you nak around you, siapa you nak orang to support you. And when we continue to go to the people yang tak support kita, yang against kita, then dekat situ that is what we get. But if we mix with the right people, you know, we can, bila benda-benda ni happen, what I do is I always go back to the people who support me and then ask them, you know, is it true whatever that they say of me? Because sometimes what people say might get to you, right? So you know, even in Islam sangat digalakkan untuk kita continuously surround ourselves with good people. So sebab tu Rasulullah dan sahabat-sahabat pun always around with each other because they are good people themselves. So I would, you know, always go back to the people that I trust, the people that I know that would offer me advice, who would tell me if it is my wrongdoing, where sometimes pun pernah jadi it is my mistake lah and it is something that I need to do better at. So they will then remind me of that matter lah. So yeah, that's a bit lah, insyaAllah.
Okay, sebelum kita teruskan, kita punya topik ni, dia sama juga macam Ustazah Mekut tadi, antara dia dan tidak, sebab kita takut kita terlari daripada topik salah mak, bapak atau anak. Tapi again, di social media is actually mungkin kita boleh kembali ke topik kita, iaitu adakah ini kesannya anak-anak kita sekarang, but mungkin yang attack Nurul pun bukan anak-anak, mak-mak dan bapak-bapak juga. So adakah ini kesannya di antara perhubungan di antara anak dan bapa, sebab mungkin mak bapak tak beritahu anak ke, anak tak beritahu bapa. Kita kembali kepada soalan di sini. Kita ada daripada Syaz Washabi. We look at dia punya question. How do we get rid of that traditional upbringing mindset certain parents have and still use it now despite knowing that the generation have changed? How do we explain and pujo knowing that they are not as open-minded and will react unpleasantly? Get that? Siapa nak jawab ni? Kita sebenarnya ada banyak soalan ni. Sekarang dah 42 minit kita berbual. Cuma dua saja. Okay, but I think this is great lah. This is a good topic I think to talk about because banyak yang interested in tahu, dan mungkin daripada I think apa yang telah diberikan oleh Ustazah Hidayah dan juga Ustazah Fatin dan juga Ustaz Lutfi tadi tentang soalan-soalan tu ialah daripada seseorang, daripada anak-anak muda yang ilmu agama khususnya, merupakan asatizah yang telah memberikan pendapat. So I think walaupun mereka muda tapi mereka berteraskan atau bersandarkan dengan agama. So I think it goes both world lah, best for both worlds lah, untuk yang adult dan juga untuk yang muda. Basically. Okay, so boleh kita jawab soalan? Okay,
saya jawab dulu. Cara parenting zaman dulu dengan zaman sekarang berbeza. Okay, and ada yang tanya juga, apa yang dia tanya? Anak-anak dulu tak berani nak tegur, tapi sekarang ni anak-anak berani nak tegur kan? Yes. So macam
anak-anak kita sekarang melawan. Melawan. Dan kita teruskan soalan lagi. Kita sum up lah. Untuk faham anak-anak, perlukah kita ikut rentak mereka?
Okay.
And yang tu is how should parenting evolve as the child grows up and face different phases in life. Okay, so kita
all those lah, semua under same category
pasal kita summary-kan nanti, insyaAllah kalau ada masa lagi kita buat lagi. Okay, sekarang dah 45 minit dah kita berbual.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So cara parenting dulu dengan sekarang berbeza kan. And dulu punya budak-budak, dorang kalau macam kena macam apa tu, kalau kita suruh dorang buat something, dorang boleh sami' now atau nah, okay saya akan buat. Tapi kalau budak-budak zaman sekarang, kalau kita cakap jangan keluar, kenapa tak boleh keluar? Faham tak? Kenapa tak boleh keluar? Kita akan like ask the question kan. So satu benda yang saya nak share, kita kena faham yang antara tanda-tanda kiamat adalah anak-anak muda yang derhaka. So ini dalam hadis Nabi riwayat Umar ibn Khattab, Jibril datang dekat Nabi, lepas tu dia tanya beritahu aku tentang tanda-tanda kiamat. And then Nabi cakap antalidal amata rabbataha. Maksudnya perempuan-perempuan akan lahirkan tuannya. Maksudnya anak-anak tu akan menghamba abdikan ibu bapanya. Jadi saya nak cakap kat sini yang kita semua pun anak-anak akhir zaman. Mungkin Ustazah Hidayah dengan Ustaz Lutfi mungkin Masya Allah lah. Tapi saya nak jujur kat sini, saya bukan orang yang baik. Saya bukan anak yang baik, saya bukan anak yang soleh yang ni. So macam growing up, kita tahu yang macam okay, ni tanda-tanda kiamat, and kita cuba untuk faham. Tapi macam growing up as a teenager, saya rasa susah benda tu untuk buat. Jadi saya selalu doa, ya Allah, like kalau saya ni adalah ujian untuk mak bapak saya, maka kau berkatilah dorang, kau angkatlah darjat dorang, kau berkati dorang punya kesabaran untuk jaga aku lah. So yang saya nak tekankan kat sini, bila anak-anak jadi, okay, kita tak boleh lari daripada fakta yang anak-anak muda, anak-anak akhir zaman dia akan derhaka. Itu adalah tanda-tanda kecil kiamat, betul? So bila anak dah berubah, jadi bila zaman dah berubah, jadi parenting style pun kena berubah juga. Mungkin kalau dulu kita boleh macam just okay, like tak payah reason, just kau dengar je cakap aku. Tapi mungkin sekarang kita kena banyak reasoning out dengan the person, dengan the child, kan? So saya nak and orang selalu cakap cara parenting zaman dulu dan zaman sekarang berbeza. Tapi saya rasa sebenarnya daripada zaman Nabi, kalau kita tengok zaman-zaman para Nabi-Nabi lah, it's actually tak beza pun. Macam kalau kita tengok Nabi Ibrahim kan, dia ada apa tu nama dia punya reasoning dengan communication dengan listening, semua ada pada zaman-zaman Nabi. So bila Nabi Ibrahim ni, bila dia ada anak yang age gap dia jauh tau. Macam saya dengan bapak saya lah, 40 years age gap kan. Tapi saya, Nabi Ibrahim saya tak tahu berapa banyak age gap dia, tapi dia dapat anak pada usia yang agak tua. Tapi bila dia dapat ilham yang dia kena sacrifice anak dia tu, dia tak terus do the act. Dia tak terus macam okay, aku kena buat ni. Tapi dia tanya anak dia dulu, what do you think? Allah suruh aku buat gini, what do you think? So bila kita tanya anak kita tu, maksudnya kita respect apa yang anak kita, as in kita respect anak kita punya decisions, punya voices. So macam anak-anak ni diorang akan rasa yang diorang punya voices will be heard tau. So bila diorang rasa voices diorang will be heard, as in Nabi Ibrahim rasa buat dia as an adult. So macam okay, your voice is also important. So bila anak-anak rasa macam tu, anak-anak akan respect lah, akan respect more, and akan ada that bond more dengan the parents kan. So apart from Nabi Ibrahim, and then Nabi Yaakob. Nabi Yaakob pun ada 12 sons, and one of the two is Nabi Yusuf alaihissalam. So and Nabi Yusuf dia walaupun dorang okay, Nabi Yusuf ni kan, dia boleh ceritakan dekat bapak dia apa-apa je, even though dia punya any kinds of dia punya dreams, dia boleh just ceritakan dekat mak bapak dia. So bila when dia boleh ceritakan everything, itu maksudnya yang Nabi yang bapak dia tu create a very safe space for the child and active listener lah untuk dengarkan luahan anak-anak dia. So actually benda-benda ni bila sekarang ni orang cakap pasal reasoning, pasal listening, macam parenting styles kan, sebenarnya itu bukan benda yang baru. Sebenarnya itu kalau kita tengok sejarah, kalau kita tengok nabi-nabi dulu memang dah ada dah. Jadi actually dia bukan berbeza lah. Actually kalau kita tengok dengan nabi-nabi dulu dia sama. Cuma yalah mungkin zaman-zaman dulu, zaman bapak kita mungkin diorang punya upbringing lain. So dia jadi a vicious cycle lah. So macam, tapi saya rasa macam tadi dia punya soalan is how to get rid of it. And I think we shouldn't focus more on how to get rid of it, but I think we should focus more on how we can understand them. Faham ke? Macam because when we want to focus on how to get rid of it, nanti dia akan jadi macam okay, what's your role as a parent? Macam itu. Tapi what's your role as a child? Kan? So I think kita kena focus more on ourselves lah. Macam tak mau play the blame game on them. Tapi tak bermaksud itu kasih parents a ticket untuk macam buat apa yang mereka nak lah. Maksudnya di sini kalau kita as a child, kita fokus role kita as a child. Kalau kita as a parent, kita fokus role kita as a parent macam mana, tak mau play the blame game. And lagi satu saya nak cerita, ada satu budak ni, dia dululah saya ajar dia dekat masjid, and she is apa tu nama dia? She is 13 years old. She's 13 years old. And then saya selalu akan buat macam halaqah tau. Macam halaqah maksudnya macam in a circle. Kita akan duduk and then berbual. And then throughout tu dia macam very very diam tau. So because dia punya tu is pasal mak bapak lah, dia punya tu is pasal mak bapak. So bila semua orang dah balik, dia cakap dengan saya. Dia cakap dengan saya, Ustazah, can I tell you something? Saya sebenarnya dah berzina. Dia cakap gitu. Dia 13 years old. Saya dah berzina.
Oh, okay.
So saya cakap dengan dia like okay, like kenapa? Like kenapalah? And dia cakap saya rasa saya just nak feel the acceptance. Saya rasa mak bapak saya terlalu macam kira apa-apa yang dia buat semua salah. Apa-apa yang dia buat dia just nak rasa acceptance. And saya boleh relate to that because saya rasa memang naluri seorang perempuan, memang kita nak dibelai, memang kita nak disayangi, apa-apa yang sebut. Saya tak tahu kalau anak lelaki macam mana, tapi saya rasa macam tu lah. Kira dia just nak rasa the acceptance, and dia rasa bila dengan lelaki tu appreciate dia. So dia rasa macam bila dia buat benda salah, dia kena salah. Bila dia nak cuba jadi baik, orang tak acknowledge dia punya kebaikan. Orang still acknowledge dia punya kejahatan. So bila macam as much as parents, you ataupun as teachers atau educators, kalau kita nak acknowledge dia punya mistakes, nak punish dia mistakes, kita kena acknowledge dia punya kebaikan juga. Sebab setiap anak ada dia punya kebaikan dia, kejahatan dia juga kan. So as much as kita acknowledge the negatives, kita focus more on the positives lah. Macam contoh, kalau dia tak pernah kemas bilik, lepas tu satu hari dia kemas, dia bangun dia kemas. So macam kalau kita as a parent, kita walaupun kita selalu acknowledge dia punya ni kan, dia punya keburukan. So bila dia kemas tu, kita wah bagusnya kemas saya, macam bagus sih, macam Syaista nama dia. Bagusnya Syaista, good job Syaista. Macam tu. So it's like bila benda tu happen kan, nanti budak tu akan like feel more motivated. So saya sendirilah, so saya akan feel more motivated untuk okay aku nak buat lagi, more encourage me to do more. Yeah, so macam tu lah. Saya rasa I mean mungkin Ustaz Lutfi boleh touch on anak lelaki, sebab saya rasa saya boleh relate to anak perempuan lah. Like because saya rasa diorang just nak love, attention and etc. bila nak membesar macam ni.
Lelaki suka ditumbuk-tumbuk agaknya anak lelaki. Okay, kita check dulu, kita check some of the comment here. Okay, so Puan Zura says that for this topic, I don't blame the parents nor the children. Parents need to be open-minded, spend ample time with your kids, be a good listener and sharer, insyaAllah. I'm just sharing bonding with kids and parents will be more closer. So that's what she said lah. So untuk Puan Elmi pula di sini, sometimes when we parents ask, what do you think? The answer is, don't know, not sure.
Sometimes when parents ask, what do you think? The answer is, don't know, not sure or anything. Okay.
Okay, so that's okay, sekejap Ustaz Lutfi, kita simpan yang tentang lelaki tu, Ustaz Lutfi Okay, lagi satu daripada saudara kita di sini, Ikhwan Haslinda, apa-apa pun aktiviti mesti ada hadnya. Jangan jadikan sosial media sebagai satu batu loncatan untuk kita mengeluarkan kata-kata kesat dan kasar. Tata susila kita mesti jaga. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So saya nak tanya, kita nak teruskan kepada Ustaz Lutfi dan mungkin Ustazah Hidayah later on, or maybe Nurul before the answer you have anything to say later on. Sekejap, saya kasih soalan dulu Lutfi, Ustaz Lutfi. Parents remind us constantly not to be too influenced with westerners antics or not to overwhelm ourselves with internet, but they themselves are filled with FB or other social media platform. Isn't this double standard? Terusnya, how can a child correct a parent on factual error without disrespecting them? Dan seterusnya, ibu bapa tak pernah salah dalam Islam. Ibu bapa tak pernah dalam Islam. Tapi kalau diorang yang ajar benda jahat macam minum arak depan anak, macam mana? Okay, so ini kita summarizekan. Itu Ustaz Lutfi jawab. Nurul, you have anything to say?
I actually agree with Ustazah Fatin tadi. I think it's a lot. The parents play a very important part also. You know, kita tak boleh nak just because anak tu anak, kita nak expect orang to always respect and everything. Sekarang zaman dah berbeza. So we also have to play our part. We have to, like you say, we have to encourage them. When they do something wrong, we acknowledge. When they do something right, we also have to acknowledge. You know. So this one is actually when you mentioned Syaista. Syaista is a very egoistic child. If I compare her dengan my son, tak, mak dia baik. So dia kalau dia kalau buat salah is extreme salah tau. And so she did something wrong in school and I was very affected tau. Very affected that my husband caned her. So we parents, we were very affected lah. My husband caned her. And then I felt terrible about it lah. Okay, and then later on, just a couple of months later, and then another incident happened, you know, in school. And then so the teacher shared with me, and then I cried because I was so disappointed. You know, this thing just ended. You got caned, and how come you're not scared? And this another incident happened. You know, so without tanpa usul periksa, I hit her again. Okay, and after I hit her, then my mom, when that happened, my mom was with me. So my mom was telling me, An, tanya dululah what exactly happened. Apa pasal you straight away dengar apa the teacher cakap and you straight away cane her without even asking what happened, you know. So, and it was after I hit her tau. Then I macam dah marah sangat. I say, mak jangan masuk campur. Ni biar unhandle, you know. But then after I dah tenang kan, then I asked myself, yeah, why did I do that? So I asked Shaista lah what actually happened. And when she told me the story, she is not in the wrong lah. When she told me the real story, you know. And then that's when I learned tau. I said that, you know, just because a child was wrong once, it doesn't mean that they are always in the wrong. You have to sit down with your child, give them the benefit of the doubt, ask them what happened. You know, you tak boleh nak sebab satu kesalahan dorang, semua dorang buat tu salah. You get what I mean? So I learned a lesson there. And then after that terus I macam apologize lah. And yeah, as parents also, do not be afraid to say sorry and apologize to your child because wow, this one it means so much tau. For me, when my child comes to me and when I come to my child and apologize, you see their face diorang macam so relieved and so happy that we actually admit our mistake. And it makes a lot of difference. So after that incident, lepas saya dah pukul dia dah nangis. You know, she was so scared that she peed in her pants tau. So can you imagine how I felt? I macam rasa bersalah nah bila I found out that she's not even in the wrong. So I apologized to her and I nangis, you know. I nangis and I said, I'm so sorry Shaista, I should have listened to you first. And then she cried and she hugged me. She said, it's okay mommy, I forgive you. So you feel like, ya Allah, you know. So yeah, so that's a lesson I learned. So I feel like parents, we play a part as well. Jangan pasal anak-anak punya pasal, anak-anak semua salah. No, it's not true. It's not true. No matter how experienced we are as we live in this world dah bertahun-tahun, it doesn't mean that we are always right. Yeah.
So basically bukan macam aku dah makan garam lebih banyak daripada engkau sebab tu aku dapat garam.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Okay. Kita lagi 3 minit dah 1 jam ni. Tapi I hope because tadi Ustazah Hidayah belum berbual sikit. So can we give Ustaz Lutfi, lepas tu kita carry on dengan Ustazah Hidayah sikit, lepas tu kita tengok komen, lepas tu kita tutup boleh?
Boleh.
Boleh tak guys?
Yes,
boleh.
Boleh. Okay, so Ustaz Lutfi, sila jawab soalan-soalan yang telah diutarakan kepada Ustaz Lutfi tadi. Kalau nak jawab tentang sifat lelaki yang Ustazah Fatin syorkan pun boleh juga lepas ni. Ya, silakan.
Okay. Kalau saya nak start dengan kira dalil daripada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala dalam Al-Quran. Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kata kul ta'alu atlu ma harrama rabbukum alaikum alla tusyriku bihi syai'an wa bil walidaini ihsana. So ayat ni is very beautiful though because Allah Allah tell macam Allah dialog dengan hamba-hambanya. Jom aku nak bilang korang atau I want to tell all of you apa yang benda-benda yang haram that you should avoid. So Allah start with alla tusyriku bihi syai'an. Jadi jangan syirik dengan Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Then the next thing, exactly the next point after
Sorry Ustaz, sekejap sekejap je. 2 minit I hilang sekejap. Nurul kalau apa-apa take over sekejap sekejap je. Okay. Sekejap
Okay. Boleh. Alright, so this is very beautiful ayat. Allah want to tell us benda-benda yang haram patut kita tak boleh buat. Firstly Allah cakap alla tusyriku bihi syai'an, jangan mensyirikkannya, jangan buat benda yang syirik. Then exactly the next point yang Allah bilang adalah wabil walidaini ihsanan, dan dengan ibu bapa buatlah baik. So this is very macam kalau kita just baca dia punya makna, kita akan tak faham asal Allah nak cakap benda yang haram, tapi lepas tu the second point Allah is telling us to do good thing to our parents, buat baik dengan parents kita. So actually scholars have discussed lah this ayat and what actually Allah is trying to say, what is the macam the beauty Allah put the points after alla tusyriku bihi syai'an adalah untuk memberitahu manusia atau hamba-hamba atau orang Islam sendiri bahawa kita bila nak buat baik dengan ibu bapa ni, dia bukan sekadar buat baik tau. Maknanya level ihsan bila kita nak buat baik pada ibu bapa tu, dia tak boleh tak the best. Ihsan tu that means you need to serve your parents the best way possible. So apa maksud dia adalah if you don't serve the less than the best, macam kita serve sikit aja, macam kita rasa oh ni dah baik, dah cukup baik, tapi it's not the best, itu mungkin jatuh kepada benda-benda yang haram untuk kita lakukan atau benda-benda yang tak sepatutnya kita lakukan. So this is the mentality that actually we need to instill in diri kita lah as a anak-anak and how we see our parents. That means the moment we need to serve them, or the moment we need to assist them, or we need to communicate with them, the only thing that we can do is to be the best to their service. So sekurang kalau kita kurang daripada the best dan kita effort tu adalah benda-benda yang tidak diharuskan atau tidak digalakkan di dalam agama Islam. So back to our context lah. Konteks dia adalah atau the question is macam kalau in a case where abusive parents, maybe kita ada tahu, we refer stories about abusive parents physically, emotionally, or parents that suruh anak-anak mereka melakukan kesalahan atau maksiat, dosa-dosa dan sebagainya, and how we need to deal with that. I think this is many concern sebab kita anak-anak di luar sana, diorang face this kind of issue, and diorang of course diorang rasa I'm not supposed to be rude, but how I respond to this kind of treatment daripada my parents. So to relate back to the context of ayat tadi adalah untuk melakukan sebaik mungkin, and sebaik mungkin tak semestinya adalah respon dengan taat sahaja. That means it's not only that you follow their orders and that means you are fall under that. Tapi ihsanan it can be kira banyak type of approach lah. That means you can serve them the best. You have tried the best to listen to them or to communicate with them, tapi at the end of the day mereka still tak faham atau mereka still in their position.
Sorry Ustaz.
Yes.
Sorry, okay, ini menjurus kepada lagi satu soalan. Is there a prophetic teachings on how to tegur kesalahan orang tua? Okay, maybe.
Alright. Yeah. Okay, I will InshaAllah I will go to that. From there kita dah try to be the best treatment to them, tapi mereka tak faham, masih the abusive person, and masih suruh kita melakukan benda-benda yang tak baik atau mendosa, specifically maksiat, adalah we need to start draw the line between them. That means after we have tried our best but you still in that condition, kau masih suruh aku, macam tadi question dia, suruh minum arak dan sebagainya, or even tak suruh minum arak, suruh syubhat to be involved dalam minum arak dan sebagainya. So we need to draw the line after we've tried our best. We need to macam okay, so they learn. We need to at the same time, it's not that parents educate the children, we sometimes need to educate the parents. It's not macam kita mengajar, tapi we need to macam educate them lah, basically how is the better way to treat, how to a better way to become a manusia pun, a Muslim. So sometimes parents kita is not, of course as a human being tak perfect. It's not wrong for us to macam educate them balik or tegur dengan of course the question how to tegur prophetically, of course the best way, of course Islam ajar kita untuk tegur dengan respect lah. At the end of the day, bukan kita perlu kurang hajar atau durhaka atau pekik-pekik dan sebagainya. We have tried our best, kita tegur dengan respect, then diorang masih tak faham lagi, then we draw the line, we draw the line with respect. Kita tinggalkan benda-benda yang tak baik, then they need our service, diorang still perlukan kita punya pertolongan, we are there. Kalau mereka betul pertolongan yang baik lah, diorang nak berubah dan sebagainya, they need referral to maybe agencies atau referral to asatizah for spiritual punya lessons or Islamic lessons, so we help them. But other than that, mereka masih suruh melakukan kejahatan, we draw the line, kita jauhkan diri daripada benda-benda seperti itulah. After we educate them and after we've tried our best, I think that is the best way. Of course that is the ideal way lah. Practically it's not as easy as it sound. Macam different family have different situation. Kadang-kadang mentally pun dah abuse, dah depression dan sebagainya, dah takut dalam satu rumah with their abuser, diorang dah takut dengan parents dan sebagainya. So I think the whole community plays a part. Kita agencies ataupun the neighbours play a part. You know, kalau siblings kita tahu kita punya adik-beradik, atau kita tahu kita punya pakcik, makcik, cousin sebagainya perlukan bantuan. I think it's good for us to be aware of this kind of conflicts yang happen in our family and refer them to agencies atau orang-orang yang boleh membantu mereka lah. Silakan Ustazah.
Silakan Ustazah.
If I can add on, I think I mean I really agree to whatever whatever that you said, but I think if I can add on, because macam mak bapak ni dia ada, I mean I really salute Nurul, Kak Nurul for apologizing to the kid, because tak semua parents yang boleh buat macam tu. Tapi kita as a child, bila kita nampak, kita kena tahulah parents kita macam mana, and maybe dorang datang daripada background yang berbeza, experiences yang berbeza. So I think kalau kita nampak, kalau kita tengok macam mak bapak kita kan tak boleh terima teguran, then don't like faham ke? Because macam bila kita nak cakap something kan, kita kena tahu when they listen to react or they listen to respond. You know, when they listen to react, then sadaqallahul azim, just stop, because macam it will just sour your relationship even more. Tapi kalau they listen to respond, then that's when you can continue with, of course dengan cara yang lembut lah. So I think the bottom line here is know when your parents are listening to react and know when your parents are listening to respond. Yeah, to just
I think at the end of the day we cannot stop there also lah. Kalau walaupun the parents react, we still need to try to push the boundary also kan, but on maybe different time, tengah relax ke apa kan.
Different time. So that's why I say like know when is like the best time, macam bila dorang listen to respond, not to react.
Ustaz Lutfi ada lagi nak sambung ataupun
sambung?
tadi ada orang cakap silap-silap kalau dibiarkan siasat sampai esok pagi ni live ni. Okey,
Ustazah Hidayah.
Ya. Sejak.
Okay, maybe just add on to the points as has been mentioned lah. It's amazing on the matter of respect, and I think sometimes people trouble with the idea of respect. Like to what extent is respect? Macam kadang to us dia dah cukup respect, tapi sebenarnya to parents kita bukan respect langsung kan. And then tadi pun Ustaz Lutfi ada mention a beautiful verse from the Quran, and if I can add on daripada surah Al-Isra, bila mana Allah sebutkan wakhfid lahuma janahadzulli. So maksudnya bila kita berdepan dengan parents kita, antara perkara yang kita perlu lakukan as mentioned in the verse adalah untuk kita lowerkan kita punya sayap. Tahu, sebab kadang kita dah jadi somebody, you know, our parents dah help us to grow into somebody yang contohnya berpangkat, yang ada at certain points in our life, kita seorang ini, kita seorang tu, tapi sebenarnya bila kita depan ibu bapa kita kena ingat yang kita sebenarnya anak. It is our place to, you know, face them with humbleness and with humility, no matter you know what kind of parents that they are. Macam tadi Ustaz Lutfi mention lah kan, macam kalau if it's the matter of abuse ke apa, you know, there are ways to attend to that, there are helps that we can actually reach out to. Tapi on the matters yang tak masuk that area, you know, this is exactly where kita nak kena continue to ada that respect terhadap ibu bapa kita. Even ayat tu sambung faqula lahum dia sebutkan fala taqul lahum uffin wala tanharhuma kan, not even cakap uff tau, you cakap sikit pun tak boleh sebenarnya to your parents. But I think as Ustaz Lutfi mentioned, it is not something yang senang untuk dilakukan. You know, it's something that we are all also a work in progress. Like I myself also am still trying to work towards wanting to become anak yang baik towards my parents, and I also ada kesilapan I sendiri. Tapi I think on the matter of respect, on the matter of cakap dengan selembut sebaiknya, if I could pick up one story daripada surah Toha. Okay, bila mana Allah SWT menyuruh Nabi Musa AS untuk jumpa Fir'aun. Dan as we all know, Fir'aun tu sebenarnya orang yang dikatakan orang yang paling zalim, orang yang paling evil, orang yang paling jahat, paling teruk yang pernah jejak di bumi ini. So macam today kalau you rasa ada orang paling jahat dalam dunia, sebenarnya Fir'aun tu paling teruk dalam sejarah manusia yang ada dekat bumi ni. Tapi apa Allah sebutkan kepada Nabi Musa, dia cakap idhab ila fir'auna innahu tagha. So Allah suruh dia pergi jumpa Fir'aun. Tapi Allah sambung ayat tu dengan faqula lahu qawlan layyinan la'allahu yatadhakkaru aw yakhsha. So Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala menyuruh Nabi Musa AS faqula lahu qawlan layyinan. So bila kau jumpa Fir'aun tu, orang yang paling teruk dalam dunia ni, orang yang paling jahat, orang yang mengaku yang dia Tuhan tu, you're supposed to cakap dengan dia dengan perkataan yang paling baik, paling lembut, paling hormat. To the extent that you can go. Faqula lahu qawlan layyinan. So itu in the perspective of seorang Nabi nak jumpa orang yang paling jahat dalam dunia ni. But now we are talking about parents, we are talking about ibu bapa, we are talking about people yang deserve respect kita in the first place. Tak kisahlah apa kesalahan mereka yang mereka lakukan, mereka tetap mak bapak kita. you like it or not, it's still your parents. And at the end of the day, you like it or not, you tetap anak mereka. And at the end of the day, bila kita jumpa Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, Allah tak akan tanya kenapa mak bapak you macam ni, kenapa orang ni lakukan ni terhadap you. Tapi Allah akan tanya, okay, bila orang tu lakukan tu, apa yang kau lakukan? Bila orang tu kata perkara tersebut, apa yang kau katakan semula? So Allah will always ask you what you do. It's not about what people do to you. Because at the end of the day, apa yang kita go through in life, itu adalah ujian daripada Allah. Dan Allah nak tengok, as Ustazah Fatin mention earlier lah, react ke, respond ke, right? Are you reacting, or are you responding, or are you replying in the nicest manner, or otherwise? So Allah akan sentiasa tanya kita apa kita lakukan. So going back to the topic kan, salah mak ke, salah bapak ke, at the end of the day, sesiapa pun kita mak ke, kita bapak ke, kita anak ke, bila kita jumpa Allah, kita akan bertanggungjawab atas segala perkara yang kita lakukan. Jadi always think about, apa yang I nak lakukan ni, nanti Allah akan tanya kenapa aku lakukan perkara tersebut. But I think if we look and delve more into kisah Nabi Musa ni dengan Firaun, macam bila kita jumpa orang paling teruk, Allah dah suruh cakap dengan perkataan yang baik-baik. Tapi what more our parents yang deserving of the respect. Tapi I myself am still a work in progress. Harap boleh doakan saya, insyaAllah. I think we all here, trying to work towards becoming the best parents that we are, insyaAllah, yang the parent and the best children that we are lah, insyaAllah. So yeah, sikit.
We have one comment here daripada Cik Kasim Munshi. To answer the question on guidance of how to tegur parents, we can refer to the example in the Quran, Surah Maryam ayat 41 to 47, on how Nabi Ibrahim tegur his own father. Excellent words he used. So that's one comment that he gave. Okay. Anything else to okay, silakan sekejap Ustazah Fatin saya silakan. Dah register namanya tadi? Okay, saya on.
Okay, tak ada. Saya nak add on to macam what Ustazah Hidayah said, that macam kita as a child kan, no matter what kind of parents we have, kita kena always respect them. And saya pernah macam, because as I said, kita punya age gap is 40 years apart, and it's very hard lah for us to understand each other, and kita dorang orang lama kan, dan saya macam kira saya hidup zaman lain, dorang hidup zaman lain. Tapi macam bila saya, alhamdulillah saya ada alhamdulillah saya ada asatizah-asatizah yang tolong saya untuk bangun, and bila saya macam discuss benda ni dengan asatizah-asatizah dekat sekolah, ada satu ustazah ni yang bilang saya satu phrase ni yang saya rasa saya akan pegang sampai matilah. InshaAllah sampai mati. Dia cakap bila humans ni kan, kalau kita baby, kita akan jadi childish, kita akan throw tantrums, kita akan apa, tapi bila kita adult, kita akan mature. Lepas tu bila kita jadi orang tua balik, kita akan go back to kita punya nature of jadi childish. So macam bila you as a child, your parents dah tolerate you punya nonsense, you punya apa semua, and then sekarang ni it's your turn, it's my turn to actually tolerate mak bapak kita yang nonsense. Because kadang-kadang that time saya tak faham kenapa dia unreasonable sometimes lah, tapi bila saya tua nanti, mungkin saya pun akan jadi unreasonable sebab kita tak perasan kan kita dah tua. So macam bila you Ustazah tu cakap bila you dah tua nanti,
Nurul dah nak jadi tu. Nurul dah nak jadi.
So bila you dah tua nanti, you pun akan jadi macam itu. So bila you jadi macam itu, you nak anak-anak you faham you tak? You nak anak-anak yang you dah korbankan segala raga, jiwa raga semua dekat orang tu. Lepas tu you nak orang tu macam you nak orang tu faham you ke tak, macam mana you faham dorang time dorang tengah kecil. So it's like macam tu lah, it goes back to that question every single time. I rasa okay, tak apa, mak bapak saya dah tua, so it's my turn to contribute back to them lah. And ini macam kira berbakti lah. Selagi ada mak bapak, kita berbakti dengan mak bapak. We are all, tak semestinya bila saya cakap gini maksudnya saya berbakti lah kan. Kita semua work in progress lah. Kita cuba untuk jadi yang terbaik. InsyaAllah kita cuba untuk understand each other. Dan insyaAllah kita semua ni lah jadi anak-anak yang soleh-soleha, dan parents yang boleh give proper guidance untuk anak-anaknya, insyaAllah.
Okay. Saya ada satu soalan atau pendapat jugalah. Mungkin ada yang mendengar ni, ada the young ones, maybe yang muda dengar. Ustazah Fatin, Ustazah Hidayah dan juga Ustaz Lutfi boleh lah diorang pergi belajar pasal Islam. Ni cakap kita ni tak belajar macam mana. So ini ada kena-mengena dengan penghijrahan. Basically bila kita dah berumur sedikit, kita akan rasa alamak kita nak hijrah. Kita dah buat apa yang kita nak buat, kita dah puas apa yang kita dah rasa, tetapi kita dah certain age we will feel that alamak I think penghijrahan tu perlu. Tapi yang muda-muda ni macam mana kalau diorang nak berhijrah? For me, I think right now, what really struck me when I think saya kenal Ustazah Fatin, Ustazah Hidayah dan Ustaz Lutfi ni daripada Ustaz Zaid. Zaid. So tengok tentang dia punya post, dia cakap ustazah muda ni banyak yang boleh berikan pandangan ataupun tips agama. So people should follow them. So for a start. So I think for a start, maybe kalau you all dapat tengok diorang punya IG, diorang punya podcast, Spotify ke ataupun TikTok ke apa-apa. Walaupun Ustaz Lutfi buat TikTok, tapi dia bukan buat TikTok yang ting-tong. Dia buat TikTok yang
bermanfaat lah.
Ya. Ustaz Lutfi boleh berlakon tau, Nurul Aini, okay? So kalau ada
Surya boleh ambil dia.
Okay, so no, I'm just saying, what I'm saying is maybe you guys can follow, yang menonton ni boleh follow, saya ada tulis IG diorang, FB page diorang, Spotify atau podcast, banyak yang telah dikongsi khususnya dalam agama-agama Islam dan mereka juga ada memberikan courses juga seperti Ustazah Fatin ada buat Quran punya starter pack. Ustazah Hidayah ada buat apa-apa for yourself? Do you have any courses or whatsoever ataupun you have any product whatsoever? Ini bukan nak menjual, ini nak beritahu. Ustaz Lutfi juga ada
adalah sedikit sebanyak sikit je lah. Follow lah kat Instagram, apa-apa kat situ insyaAllah lah.
I think for a start, okay, that is for a start. Maybe can follow Ustazah and Ustaz yang muda-muda ni. Jadi kita ada, maksudnya kita ada alternatif. Sana. Okay, sorry, ada orang nak sibuk. Okay. Ada alternatif, mungkin kalau kat Spotify ataupun kat podcast, tak semestinya bila yang muda tentang Spotify, tentang podcast, ada yang negatif. Ada juga yang positif. Okay, yang boleh kita dengar ataupun kita boleh follow. Tapi tentang penghijrahan yang muda-muda ni, tapi tadi Ustaz Lutfi ada cakap tentang kalau kita yang muda-muda, ada yang muda-muda, bukan kita lah, tak termasuk saya, yang muda-muda yang muda-muda tu, kalau mungkin nak penghijrahan apa yang boleh dilakukan ataupun how can they start, you see, ataupun nak tahu. Macam Ustazah Fatin pun cakap tadi, during the teenagers memang kita susah nak ikut or whatsoever. Thank you for being honest, Ustazah. I mean, tak orang tak kita. Kan kita pun dah mengalami apa-apa. So how do you any one of you, how do you think that we can actually go for the penghijrahan? And maybe last question lah for Ustazah Hidayah after that. Then maybe Nurul can give a little bit of take about what has been discussed. Ustazah Hidayah, I have 2 kids. Ni soalan 7 and 9 years old. Regards to the new norm, I understand there are positivities, but how can I avoid the negativities? So I think kita try to sum up lah. Yang soalan saya ni tentang penghijrahan yang muda-muda ni macam mana, dan lepas tu Ustazah Hidayah jawab, Nurul wants to say something, dan lepas tu kita boleh wrap up after Ustazah Hidayah jawab soalan tu. Silakan.
Saya cakap penghijrahan dulu.
Silakan.
Penghijrahan dulu.
Okay, silakan.
Is it? Pasal penghijrahan dulu lah.
Ya.
Macam saya cakap tadi, kita nampak je lah macam gini kan. I mean dah terjadi ustazah kan. Memang itu jadi amanah kita. Tapi kita pun buat dosa juga. Kita orang biasa. Kita nak ustazah tu title je. Tapi kita pun buat dosa juga. Tapi maybe in different ways lah kan. And saya rasa bottom line penghijrahan dekat sini tu untuk cari ilmu lah. I feel that macam macam kalau kita nak, for example, kalau kita nak kenal seseorang, boyfriend ke, materi ke, atau suami. Kalau kita nak kenal lelaki tu, kita kena, kalau kita nak cinta lelaki tu, kita kena kenal perilaku dia, kita kena kenal akhlak dia, kita kena kenal family dia, kita kena kenal background dia kan. Jadi kalau kita nak tahu Islam, kalau kita nak cintakan Allah, kalau kita nak cintakan agama tu, kita kena cari ilmu lah, kita kena cari tahu, kita kena kenal. Orang kata tak kenal maka tak cinta kan. So saya rasa bila the more kita learn, the more kita increase kita ni iman, and the more kita rasa macam Masya Allah, Islam tu very very beautiful actually. And Islam tu bukan sahaja macam halal haram, bukanlah. Because saya jujur saya cakap, saya bukanlah anak yang senang untuk dijaga. Yang senang untuk dijaga. And saya grow up with an environment yang macam ni tak boleh. As in even sekolah ke rumah is the same macam ni tak boleh, tu tak boleh, ni tak boleh, tak, kira halal haram. Tapi macam bila saya meningkat usia, bila saya betul-betul cari, bila saya kenal Islam tu, bila saya nampak beauty of Islam tu, saya rasa macam okay, this is macam kira that halal haram tu is no longer a chore to do it. So macam and saya rasa bila kita dah kenal, kita tak mau macam terus okay besok aku terus nak pakai tudung, terus pakai semua benda, tak mau and nak solat semua 5 waktu, lepas tu nak puasa. Jangan over exhaust yourself because your body needs time to adjust. Even bila Allah turunkan Quran sekalipun, Allah tak turunkan one chunk macam tu, kau ambil macam tu, tak. Allah turunkan sikit sebab Allah tahu yang kita umat dia macam mana. Allah tahu yang macam it's hard to macam keluarkan habits yang buruk-buruk kan. Dulu because orang dulu dorang minum arak and stuff like that. So even bila nak haramkan, nak cakap arak tak boleh pun ada dia punya stages dia. Dia tak terus haram. Dia macam ada partially haram. First dia halal, lepas tu after dia partially haram, lepas tu baru dia haram totally. So it's like yalah, so itu apa lagi kita kan, kita kalau kita nak berubah, kita nak take one step towards Allah, kita pun kena pelan-pelan lah, pelan-pelan kayu. So and jangan compare kita punya diri dengan orang-orang lain lah. Itu just like how I'm still a work in progress lah. So macam I feel that itu je lah apa yang saya boleh cakap. Mungkin Ustazah Hidayah ada nak tambah?
I think on the matter of perhijrahan, I think I really like the points that Ustazah Fatin mentioned, and if I could just add on to the list lah, so semua boleh buat list sendiri. So if I could add on to the list, I think niat, intention is very important. Niat tu paling penting sebab kita kena mula everything with niat. You know, kadang kita niat kerana orang, kadang kita niat kerana maybe for yang muda lah kan, for peer pressure, atau kawan kita semua, for example lah, kawan kita semua melakukan kebaikan, so kita pun terasa pressure nak lakukan kebaikan. So segalanya perlu bermula dengan niat, and niat tu akan memastikan untuk kita sampai ke penghujungnya lah, insyaAllah. And sebab tu the best niat yang kita boleh lakukan adalah niat kerana Allah, sebab Allah tu tak temporary kan, Allah tu forever. Kalau kita niat kat orang, lepas nanti orang tu dah tak ada, atau contoh orang tu tinggalkan kita, lepas tu dah dia pergi dengan niat sekali. So it's best that kita niat kerana Allah dahulu lah, first things first. And I think untuk yang muda-muda as well, us included, I think penting untuk kita gaul dengan orang-orang yang baik, mix with the right people. Because orang-orang ni akan influence you, and dalam banyak hadis Rasulullah menyebutkan you will be affected, you will be influenced by who your friends are. Betul tak? Ada hadis yang menyebutkan kalau you berkawan, contoh yang diberikan, kalau you berkawan dengan orang yang jual mask atau jual perfume, nanti you pun akan bau wangi walaupun you tak pakai minyak wangi in the first place, right? You are just influenced. And then contohnya kalau you berkawan dengan seseorang yang jual arang, right? Walaupun you tak jual arang, you berkawan dengan dia, you selalu visit dia, dan you pun akan terbau asap dan sebagainya lah. So it is important untuk kita mix with the right people, sebab for teenagers, for the young ones, untuk yang muda-muda ni, hati kita lebih terpaut dengan kawan-kawan lah. Kawan lebih influence. Kalau kawan antara mak cakap something dan kawan cakap something, usually kita lebih influenced by what our friends say. So it is very important untuk kita ensure that we mix with the right people lah, but also at the same time jangan tinggalkan doa. I think doa tu benda senang, tapi I think orang selalu lupa kebesaran doa itu sendiri, dan doa tu sebenarnya dia ada dia punya own powers yang kita boleh tap on bila kita nak mulakan hijrah. We have to set a certain mindset yang sudah semestinya what we are going to go through is not an easy path, because we talk about hijrah kan, bila Rasulullah hijrah daripada Mekah pergi Madinah pun bukannya senang kan, on the way, on the journey pun dia ada masalah, dia ada perkara-perkara arah lintang yang dia have to lalui. So bila kita nak hijrah tu, you have to tell yourself it's going to be a journey, but bila mana I set the right intentions, I mix with the right people, I try to do my best, and saya pun do as much doa as I can as I do the hijrah, insyaAllah Allah akan bantu. Because at the end of the day, Allah akan sentiasa bersama orang-orang yang sabar. Allah akan sentiasa bersama orang-orang yang sentiasa nak mengharapkan keridhaan dia. Dan if you worry about dekat mana nak cari the right people, then you find the right people at the right places, and then you pun boleh gunakan doa, ya Allah, mungkin sekarang ni aku tak ada kawan-kawan yang boleh bimbing aku, tak ada kawan-kawan yang boleh guide aku kepada kebaikan. So bukakanlah hati mereka, ataupun hantarkanlah orang-orang yang akan membantu aku on this journey, and insyaAllah Allah akan sampaikan hajat, Allah akan hantarkan orang-orang yang boleh bantu kita towards that particular hijrah lah, insyaAllah.
Okay, sebelum Ustazah Hidayah jawab soalan yang I have a kid 7 and 9, about the new norm, how to avoid the negativities. Nurul, anything that you want to, I think this one relate to you also about 7 and 9 to avoid the negativity. Actually ada telah disebut tadi tentang social media, but talking about the new norm lah, belajar and all that. So lepas tu kita akan berikan pada Ustaz Lutfi jugalah kalau ada apa-apa nak cakap, then maybe selepas Ustazah Hidayah jawab soalan tu. Nurul, want to say anything before we wrap up?
I feel as a parent, it's very important to be as close as possible to your children, to know what they are up to. When I say close to them, it doesn't mean kita macam rapat-rapat tau, tapi kita kena betul-betul kenal diorang, kita kena betul-betul tahu apa diorang buat, siapa teman-teman diorang. Is very, very important because from there then you can see where your children is leading to. Sebab friends punya influence is very, very strong. Seperti Ustazah Hidayah cakap tadi. Most of the time, children at a certain age, diorang akan lebih dengar cakap kawan daripada cakap ibu bapa. Nampak tu semua angguk. Yang muda-muda ni semua angguk. Diorang macam itu. I know. I went through that. Nampak semua. So, it's very important for us to be close to our children. I feel like my daughter and my children right now, even though diorang masih muda, but I am already trying to implement macam hari-hari kita ada session together where we talk, where we will tell each other what happened during the day. And it's not just budak-budak share dengan kita pun share dengan diorang. So diorang akan tanya my husband question like, today how many clients did you meet? You know, it can be very boring because every day benda yang sama, but then it's very important that the kids feel like they can share with us everything and anything. So I feel like at this point right now, with social media and everything that's going on, the new norm and all, it's very important that you open yourself up so that your children will share everything with you. Yeah, that's my view.
Okay, so sorry tadi saya cakap Ustazah Hidayah akan jawab satu soalan tentang yang anak kecil, yang the new norm. Then Ustaz Lutfi boleh jawab ni tak nanti? Ada Puan Elmi kita ni, atau Tuan Elmi ke apa? Puan Elmi, salam semua. Tak apa, kita go to Ustazah Hidayah dulu. Silakan Ustazah Hidayah. About the new norm, how to avoid the negativities.
Okay, just to add on, I think I really like apa yang Kak Nurul share earlier on to build that relationship with your child, and then as much as you share with your child, as much as your child shares with you, you also need to share lah with them so they also know what's going on. And on this particular matter, walaupun I don't have a child yang ages 2 and 9, just stepping on the small experiences that I have with my students lah. And also it is equally important to do what Kak Nurul mentioned earlier, because itu antara practices of Rasulullah SAW dengan anak dia. Like if you look at sejarah, you look at cerita-cerita Rasulullah dengan anak dia Fatimah, kan dia very close, dia very rapat, and they do everything together, they share. And then there are certain times where bila mana Rasulullah SAW dia pulang balik, lepas tu dia luka sebab dia dah kena attack, dia dah kena afflicted by orang-orang Quraisy at that point of time. So bila mana dia pulang, terus Fatimah pun nampak dia, Fatimah pun sedih. Fatimah tanya kenapa, like what happened to you? Tapi you know, as a father dia tak simpan. As a father he tell his problems. As a father he shares with Fatimah, and that is actually sunnah Rasulullah SAW. And I think when with regards to parenting, as much as context is important, maybe we want to look at cara-cara Rasulullah pun handle certain situations, or how he did parenting. Sebab macam the things that Kak Nurul mention pun is actually apa yang Rasulullah lakukan. So it's just that sometimes kita tak exposed to these things dan kita tak tahu pun actually it is sunnah Rasulullah. And I think on the matter of avoiding the negativity, I think kita tak boleh avoid, because negativity will want to happen. Kan, as much as kita lari sejauh mana pun, negativity will still come at you. Kalau you tak go to the negativity could come at you, right? So I think this goes back to the very first point that I shared lah. It is important for us to help the younger ones, or help mungkin for those yang tengah watching this right now, maybe you ada adik-adik yang lagi muda, right? So not just applying to your child, but also to your adik-adik, to help them to understand, okay, apa yang betul, apa yang salah. Because sometimes we don't share with the younger ones yang ni betul ni salah, so they don't know, so they just assume. And as I think Ustaz Lutfi mentioned about social validation kan, semua orang buat, so they feel that sebab semua orang buat, it's okay, it's fine. They see certain groups of people buat, and then it's fine as well. So they don't know apa yang betul, apa yang salah. They just ikut je kan, diorang ikut je. So bila mana we have that practice of, okay, so whatever that you are doing, this is good, this is okay, keep on going as Ustazah Fatin mentioned earlier, continue with the acknowledgements, but it is equally important to also share with them, you know, apa yang betul, apa yang salah, because it could be that they don't know. Like kalau my dad, dia suka berbual dengan orang, and then every time dia meet orang-orang muda, dia akan tanya soalan, dia akan interview, dia akan cerita-cerita, sebab he really likes to talk to people. And a lot of times when he comes back home, he shares with me these stories kind of the struggles of the younger one. Dia akan mention that kebanyakan mereka tidak tahu. That is the greatest concern. Like the root of the problem is they don't know, kan? So and you know, the best people for them to learn from would be their parents, because parents is usually the people that they see at home. And I think this is where the responsibility of the parents come in, but also at the same time, I think the asatizahs also play a big part as well lah, to also be involved, you know, in social media and everything, to be there, to be present, because there are certain people still tak tahu the existence of ustaz and ustazah. They don't even know one single ustaz, one single ustazah. And you know, when at least, you know, the parents or yang kakak-kakak, abang-abang could introduce to the younger ones to some asatizahs, you know, that they can refer to, I think that is also good lah. Something that we can apply. You know, at the end of the day, kita tak boleh nak avoid, tapi we can look at, you know, the things that we can do to overcome when these things happen lah, insyaAllah.
I think in terms of like macam approach asatizah tu, I think mostly maybe the young ones maybe tengok asatizah, ustaz semua bangsa those elderly ones, mature ones, so they didn't see. That's why this is what I'm doing lah. Basically we need to expose Ustazah Fatin, Ustazah Hidayah dan juga Ustaz Lutfi yang main TikTok. Okay, alright. So I think there's this comment. Okay, Ruzaini Hassan, everybody should practice sincerity, responsibility and love. The elderly should give way to the youngster, and the youngster should give respect to the elderly. InsyaAllah everything will be good. Okay, so another comment that we have, salam semua daripada Tuan Anwar. Almarhum Ustaz Abdillah Al-Jufri pernah pesan, kalau tegur, satu, orang tua tegur orang muda berbentuk pengajaran. Nombor dua, orang muda tegur orang tua berbentuk pujukan dan rayuan. So I think this is a good one. Alright, then another question ni, dia sebenarnya ada dua question tapi tak apa, kita ambil yang ini dulu. Okay, daripada Elmi Ibrahim. Salam semua, saya ada satu soalan untuk ustazah atau ustaz. Adakah bagaimana anak-anak kita bersikap dengan kita adalah sama sikap kita terhadap ibu bapa kita? I mean, is it the recycle punya ni So ada cycle punya ni like the saying goes, what you give you get back. Mohon pencerahan, terima kasih. Ustaz, boleh beri pencerahan Ustaz? Terima kasih.
InsyaAllah, ni apa yang saya tahu je lah. Kalau sini saya biasa dengar bila time sekolah ni, dulu kira guru-guru kita kadang jangan nakal-nakal, nanti dia korang ajar anak murid korang pula. Kira kalau for me personally tak tahu itu based on takut-takutkan ataupun it's a culture-nya thing ataupun agama. For agamanya saya tak pernah dengar, for me lah, saya tak pernah dengar any macam dalil or any hadis yang mengatakan that cycle is it happens in I think because ada je, I think banyak families yang macam contohnya parents yang kurang baik atau abusive family, tapi they grow up, the children become a good person atau good people yang serve the community, yang give to the community. So it doesn't work that way. I think for me personally, I doesn't think it works that way, but it will affect dari segi how maybe your child treat you back. That means macam your child tengok you treat your parents, contohnya macam oh kau layan aku punya, you treat my atuk gini or nenek gini, so dia akan that means is it this is how the treatment that you might get from your children because of your treatment to your parents juga. I think that might be possible in our current situation ataupun konteks manusia lah, ataupun konteks family. Tapi kalau kita jahat, anak kita jahat tu, I don't think that it works that way.
Okay. Ada satu lagi, siapa-siapa boleh jawab lah. Last question. Salam, apa yang Nurul kata itu benar tadi with regards to berbual dengan anak-anak. Tapi kalaulah anak kita dah dewasa, macam mana? Tu macam Nurul, anak kita dah dewasa macam mana? Boleh siapa-siapa jawab? Okay, Fatin, Ustazah Fatin silakan kejap Let me, Ustazah boleh unmute? Oh, ini,
Boleh. I can unmute.
Okay, silakan Ustazah.
By the way, I'm not raising my hand just now. Okay, never mind. It's okay. It's okay.
Dia macam Nurul tadi lah. Nurul tadi. Brokai tak ada. Okay. Ustazah Fatin, silakan.
Okay, sorry. Okay, dia cakap kat sini kalau
maksudnya
anak kita dah berdewasa
mungkin tak dibiasakan. Dia dah dewasa.
Dewasa macam mana? Macam kita ke? Macam kita,
Ya,
kita
maybe like you
consider
guys,
dewasa
maybe.
ke
Ya,
atau
ya.
budak-budak lagi? Saya rasa because tadi ada satu soalan juga yang tanya kalau kita nak faham anak-anak kita perlu ke kita ikut rentak mereka? Saya rasa perlu. Sebab saya tak sure which verse, tapi saya ingat dia punya verse is fa'tu bi suratin min mithlihi. Maksudnya kan dulu time zaman Nabi Isa, Nabi Isa punya zaman is zaman magic tau, zaman magic. So Allah, macam mana Allah nak educate the person, diorang nak pikat hati orang-orang tu, diorang kasih Nabi Isa pun the power of magic. Dia punya tongkat boleh tukar jadi ular, dia punya tongkat boleh belah tu sungai Nil. So jadi kalau macam and also bila zaman Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, bila zaman Nabi Muhammad itu zaman syair ke syair dalam bahasa Melayu, sebab dalam bahasa Arab is syair, kalau dalam Melayu is syair. So is zaman syair.
Okay.
Poem, zaman syair. Orang-orang dulu, orang-orang zaman diorang suka dengan syair. Jadi Allah turunkan Quran. Jadi bila Allah turunkan Quran, dia punya syair tu is the best syair ever. So dia macam pikat hati orang-orang tu. Jadi that's why Allah kata kat sini fa'tu bi suratin min mithlihi. Kalau kau bagus sangat, kau datangkan dengan like surah atau syair yang better than the Quran. Cuba, Allah cabar. Jadi dekat sini macam kalau Allah sendiri, kalau macam dia nak dakwah, dia ikut zaman orang tu. Apa lagi kita kan, kalau macam kita nak pikat hati contohnya budak-budak muda zaman sekarang, mungkin zaman sekarang is zaman music, zaman social media. Jadi that's why asatizah-asatizah pun sekarang pergi ke arah itu kan. Kita ada Mahir Zain untuk buat music. So macam gitulah kita dengan anak-anak kita. Jadi kalau kita nak pikat hati anak-anak kita, kita kena ikut trend dorang lah, ikut rentak dorang, ikut trend dorang. Macam apa yang Kak Nurul cakap tadi, dia pun buat TikTok. Saya selalu nampak TikTok dia dengan anak-anak dia, which is good lah. Macam saya rasa macam wah, nanti dorang pun rasa macam okay, my parents is like my friend. So macam kita boleh, that's when dia punya trust and bond is all there. Yeah. And bila kita dah pikat hati anak kita, lagi senang lah dia nak dengar cakap kita. Itulah saya punya sedikit sharing lah.
Okay. Alright. So sama lah macam setiap era, setiap negeri pun kalau ingin berdakwah macam Wali Songo, dia orang berdakwah melalui wayang kulit. Because waktu tu wayang kulit was very popular. Entertainment wayang kulit. Tapi daripada cerita Ramayana, cerita pasal Hinduism itu, diorang tukar kepada Islamic punya storyline pula. So that's how diorang berdakwah lah waktu di Indonesia, macam Wali Songo itu semua. So but kalau kita boleh sum up, saya tak tahu betul tak betul, saya boleh sum up. Actually nak salah atau tak salah ni sebenarnya actually all this it starts from home. Betul tak? Boleh tak saya katakan begitu? Maksudnya keintiman ataupun kemesraan ibu dan ayah is very penting. Dan lepas tu kemesraan tu akan sekejap, sorry. Unmute sorry.
Tak, as in Nabi Musa. Saya tadi cakap Nabi Isa.
Nabi Musa. Ya. Okay.
Tapi Nabi,
apa dia?
Wait. Ada orang cakap it's Nabi Musa and it's not Nabi Isa.
Nabi Musa. Ya. Correct. Is it, so it's Nabi Musa, is it?
Terima kasih bagi yang betulkan.
Ya.
Okay, sambung Abang Khai.
Yeah, so now I'm saying that I think it starts from home lah. Basically, I've read one research also saying that it starts with the parents. Kalau parents tu ada tunjukkan kemesraan antara satu sama lain, ibu dan ayah, jadi anak-anak pun akan tengok. Jadi daripada situ kemesraan tu akan dijatuhkan kepada anak-anak. So basically that's how we the system works lah basically. So I must say that somehow everything starts from home lah. Am I right to say that?
Yes.
Betul tak? Ya. Okay, nampaknya kita dah sampai penghujung. So maybe Nurul can say something briefly. Ustazah, both Ustazah boleh say briefly. Okay, Nurul.
Okay, so kita dah overrun 38 minit Kalau masa sekarang Kak Itun tangan dah macam ni bang kalau nak buat live show.
Itu dah gini lah, dah tudung dah tutup dah gini.
Live apa ni?
Live dah begini tau kalau kita bikin live. Tangan dah macam gini.
Overrun.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you so much for having me tonight. it's a very very interesting sharing session. I feel like I learned a lot, and macam I rasa macam hari ni I dapat validation yang I've been doing the right thing. So, thank you so much. But of course I still have a lot to learn. I think anak-anak I masih kecil lagi, and I'm very very glad right now there are all these young asatizahs, all these ustazah and ustad who will be the people who will shape my children. So we really look up to you guys, and inshallah, I'm going to
Please
look
get
for you guys.
Shaista to follow them. Get Shaista to follow them. K-pop and
Yes,
J-pop.
I nak suruh Shaista unfollow Blackpink tapi follow you all. Yes, that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Ustaz, silakan Ustaz. Ustaz silakan.
Also, I think as a wrap up, as a last word, I think it's important. Maybe one takeaway is important to have education. Education yang paling penting lah. I think kita tak nak be an ignorant people. Some people just tak tahu yang diorang salah. Some people just diorang bukan sengaja tak nak buat betul, ataupun diorang bukan sengaja nak buat benda yang jahat, tapi diorang tak tahu apa yang betul. So in other words, to sum up this topik Salah Mak atau Bapak, so sekiranya salah mak tu tengah atau parents tu tengah buat salah, then we educate them, we tell them the truth, we tell them what is supposed to be done. Dan sekiranya anak pun salah atau tegur, dan jangan macam kita cool ataupun just gaduh, menyalahkan tanpa kita actually compromise ataupun tackle the main issue. So at the end of the day, it's important to educate the people around us, be it our parents ataupun our children or even our spouse, our family members. Education is the main thing lah. But how you educate is of course depending on the context of your situation and also context of your family lah. Thank you. Wallahu a'lam.
Ustazah Fatin ataupun Ustazah Hidayah, siapa nak go dulu? Ustazah Fatin.
Okay, thank you so much brother Khairuddin Samsudin for macam kumpulkan kita orang semua and have this session, and thank you so much Kak Nurul also sebab agree untuk join kita orang. As much as kita you learn from us, actually I think I learn a lot from all of you guys lah, and because kita masih muda-muda kan, jadi kita mungkin kurang experience dari segi anak and apa ni semua, so I learn a lot from Kak Nurul also, and yeah. So thank you so much for this sharing session today, and I hope that this is a beneficial one for everyone out there lah, insyaAllah.
Ustazah Hidayah, silakan.
Terima kasih kepada semua yang ada hari ni, yang tengah tengok sekarang ni. Thank you kepada Khairuddin for having us. Walaupun kita masih tengah, at our early stage of dakwah, of contributing to the society, and thank you also to Kak Nurul for sharing your valuable experiences. Some things kita dah take note, nanti kalau in the future insyaAllah kalau ada anak sendiri, kita boleh try practice and maybe refer back to you kalau kita ada problem kan. So sebab you akan experience further. So thank you so much for being honest and sharing on that matter. And I think one last thing if I could share would be di antara practices of Islam is that apabila kita lihat orang yang lebih tua, kita hormat mereka sebab kerana mereka dah hidup lebih lama. So ada kemungkinan sebab diorang hidup lebih lama, diorang punya amalan dah lebih, pahala diorang lagi banyak daripada kita. Dan bila kita melihat mereka yang lebih muda, kita tetap melihat mereka dengan respect as well, dengan hormat. Kenapa? Sebab usia mereka lebih sikit daripada kita, dan mungkin sebab mereka belum lagi hidup lama, so diorang belum kumpulkan sebanyak dosa as much as dosa yang kita ada. Jadi selalu lihat orang yang atas kita atau bawah kita ke, lagi tua ke, lagi muda ke, selalu pandang yang mereka lebih baik daripada kita. Dan insyaAllah kalau kita ada that mindset, kita boleh
So we
settle a
just
lot
read
of
one.
things lah in life,
insyaAllah. Alhamdulillah, topik yang bagus
itu
untuk
je.
parents, anak-anak dan juga bakal-bakal parents. Semoga semua diberkati, semoga asatizah-asatizah kami dipermudahkan dalam usaha dakwah mereka, insyaAllah. Amin. Thank you for sharing. Assalamualaikum dan selamat malam kepada Bang Khai, Kak Nurul dan juga asatizah-asatizah kita. So I think terima kasih to all of you for agreeing to be part of this live. I think I hope this is not the last one. Maybe kita akan plan lagi insyaAllah on individual ustazah ataupun ustaz, ataupun we can have a group like this. So hopefully the penonton dapat manfaat yang sama. How much as they got, why I'm doing this live, because I want to learn as well. So doesn't mean I'm the youngest. I have a lot of experience. So yeah, so basically sama dengan Ustazah Fatin, sama umur, lebih kurang.
By the way, kita semua dah berada same school.
Oh, you all together?
Yeah.
That's good.
Kita semua same age lah, same age. So brother Khai pun same age juga kan?
Cuma I punya sekolah, I tak sekolah dengan you all, I sekolah lain.
Sudahlah Fatin, jangan layan lah.
Dia sekolah sebelah, dia sekolah sebelah.
Template secondary school kan?
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you so much. Dan terima kasih kepada penonton kita yang menonton. You still can watch the recorded one. So I'll just pass and please follow our ustazah, our asatizah ni. Ada diorang punya IG, ada diorang punya podcast, ada diorang punya YouTube, their Facebook and all that. Please follow them ya. Thank you and please encourage your children. Kalau ada yang parents yang menonton, encourage your children to follow them. Okay, terima kasih. Thank you guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye.
Assalamualaikum.